Okay, we're going to talk about the Algebra 1 39 weeks extra practice worksheet. I'm going to go through and at least do one of each objective to kind of get you an idea or get you started if you're stuck. So the first problem dealt with multi-step equations. So I'm just going to look at part C on this one. So again, the multi-step equation, the first thing we want to do is distribute. 6 times 3x is 18x. 6 times 1 is 6. Bring down the minus 30. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. After we distribute, we want to combine like terms. On the left side of the equal sign, I can combine 6 and negative 30, which is negative 24. Then we want to get the variables on one side, so I usually pick on the smaller variable, which would be the 6x. So I minus 6x from both sides and get 12x minus 24 equals negative 12. Then we add 24 to both sides. I get 12x equals 12, and then divide both sides by 12 and you get x equals 1. Okay, on the second part, we're factoring trinomials where we actually have a value in front of the x squared. So we make our diamond, and again we have a times c on top. So 2 times negative 9 is negative 18, and then we have b on the bottom, which is negative 3. Then we find two numbers that multiply to get the top and add to get the bottom, which would be negative 6 and 3. So that allows us to go to x minus 6 and x plus 3. But since we have this value a, we divide each of these factors by a. If it does divide, we go ahead and divide it. So x minus 6 divided by 2 is 3. If it doesn't divide, then we take that denominator and move it out in front of the x. So it would be 2x plus 3. Okay, our next objective dealt with factoring difference of squares. So since it's difference of squares, we know we're going to have a plus or minus. What we end up doing is basically taking the square root of the first term and putting it in the first part of each parentheses. So the square root of x squared is x. And then we take the square root of the second term and put it in the second part. And the square root of 144 is 12. So we have x plus 12, x minus 12. Okay, on the next objective, just look at part A. It says Jill sells eggs for $3 a dozen from her chickens. She is currently renting the cages for $200 a month. Write an inequality that could be used to determine the number of dozens of eggs X Jill needs to sell in a month to make a profit. Then find the number of dozens she needs to sell in order to make a profit. So she's selling a dozen eggs for $3, so 3x. It cost her $200 a month, so minus 200. And we want to make a profit, so that needs to be greater than 0. So if I solve that inequality, 3x minus 200 is greater than 0. I'd add 200 to both sides. And I get 3x is greater than 200. Divide by 3. So x is greater than 66.6. Now, since it's greater than that, that means we would need to round up to the next dozen. So she would have to sell 67 dozen eggs in order to make a profit for each month. Okay, objective 5 dealt with age problems. So I'll just look at part B here. It says Tom is 5 years younger than Hank. The sum of their ages is 55. Write an equation that could be used to find Hank's age X. Then find Hank's age. So we got two people. We got Tom and we got Hank. It tells us Hank's age is X. Since it says Tom is 5 years younger, Tom would be X minus 5. says the sum of their ages is 55. So sum means I add these together. So x plus x is 2x. Then I have the minus 5 equals 55. So I'm going to take that equation, 2x minus 5 equals 55, and solve it. So I add 5, get 2x equals 60. Divide by 2, x is going to equal 30. Then you got to make sure you answer the question. It says find Hank's age. Well, Hank's age is x, so I've already found his age. He's 30. If it had asked me to find Tom's age, then I could have either taken 55 minus 30, or I could have substituted in 30 here and did 30 minus 5. Okay, objective 6 in the third 9 weeks is on systems of equations, either substitution or elimination. So, again, to figure out whether you're using substitution or elimination, if it has a variable that's solved for it, like y equals 5x plus 1, then you're going to use substitution. If the x and y's are on the same side, then we're going to use elimination. Now, since another problem has us do elimination, I'm going to do one of the substitution ones. So if y equals 5x plus 1, that means I'm going to substitute in 5x plus 1 for the y. So I'd have 4x plus, well, y is 5x plus 1 equals 10. So then I can combine these two to get 9x plus 1 equals 10 minus 1, 9x equals 9, so x equals 1. Then I plug it back in. So I know from the first equation y equals 5x plus 1, and we just found out x equals 1, so I can replace that with 1. So 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And then since it's a system, we're going to write it as an ordered pair. Okay, 7 dealt with applying proportions. So let's just look at part B. It says the B Clean Car Wash washed 128 cars in 3 hours. So 128 cars in 3 hours. At that rate, how many cars can they wash in 8 hours? So we want to know how many cars can they wash in 8 hours. So your proportion would be 128 over 3 equals x, because we don't know how many cars they're going to wash in 8 hours. So if you cross multiply, 3 times x is 3x. 128 times 8 is 1024. And if you divide that by 3, you get x equals 341.3 with a line over it. So what that means is we're going to need to round down, because if I rounded up to 342, then that would take them more than 8 hours that they have. So they would be able to wash 341 cars in 8 hours. Okay, number 8 deals with system of equation word problems. So it says at a sale, Salazar bought 4 t-shirts and 3 pairs of jeans for $181. At the same store, Jenna bought 1 t-shirt and 2 pairs of jeans for $94. Write a system of equations that could be used to find the price of each t-shirt X and pair of jeans Y, then find the cost of each pair of jeans. So we got 4 t-shirts, 3 pairs of jeans. T-shirts are X, jeans are Y. So we'd have 4X plus 3Y equals 181. And then the other equation, Jenna bought 1 t-shirt, 2 pairs of jeans for $94. So that's our system. Now if I work that out, again, we're going to solve this by elimination because we have the x and y's on the same side of the equal sign. So I can eliminate either variable if they were opposites. So if I look at this, if this x was a negative 4, then it would cancel with the positive 4x. So I'm going to multiply the bottom by negative 4. The top equation I'm not going to change. It's still going to be 4x plus 3y equals 181. The bottom equation, though, is going to be negative 4x minus 8y, and then 94 times 4, or negative 4 times 94 is negative 376. So then if I add those two equations together, I'm going to get negative 5y equals negative 195. So if I divide, I get y equals 37. Sorry, 39. So y equals 39. So that means the jeans would cost $39. Now, once you find a variable, make sure you go back and read the question. Here it says find the cost of each pair of jeans. Well, jeans are y, so we've actually already done that. If it had said find the cost of the t-shirts, I would have had to went and plug that back in to figure it out. But the cost of each pair of jeans then would be 39. Okay, number 9 was solving literal equations, so we're just solving random equations for different variables. So I'm going to look at part C. It says solve A equals 2BH for H. So H is what I'm trying to get by itself. 2BH means 2 times B times H. So the opposite then would be to divide both sides by 2B. So I just have A over 2B equals H. Okay, the next part was graphing equations that were in standard form. So if I look at part A, 5x plus 3y equals 15. Now there's two different ways you can graph it. You could either find the intercepts or put it in slope-intercept form. I'm going to put it in slope-intercept form because that's probably the way that you need to learn it, and it's going to help you later on when we graph linear inequalities that are in standard form. So if I take 5x plus 3y equals 15 and I want to put that in slope-intercept form, that means I'm trying to get the y by itself. So I have to get rid of the positive 5x by subtracting 5x from both sides. So that'd give me 3y equals negative 5x plus 15. And then we would divide both sides by 3. So that'd give me y equals negative 5/3 x plus 5. So now that it's in slope-intercept form, the 5 is my y-intercept, or the b, which is the starting point. So I would go up to 5. Negative 5 over 3 is my slope, which is my rise over the run. So since it's negative, I'm going to go down 5 and then to the right 3. So from our point here, we're going to go down 5 and to the right 3 to get our second point. And then draw our line.